So I bet you're wondering, what's the difference between a buyer's market and a seller's market? And why does it matter? And how do I make sure that my offer gets accepted? Because really, that's the most important thing. When you're out house hunting, you find the perfect home, you fall in love with it, you want to make sure you win that offer. And people get too caught up in, oh my gosh, it's a buyer's market, so I can lowball it. Well, if you want the house, then make sure that you're writing a competitive offer that's going to get that offer accepted. If they say, oh my gosh, I don't know, it's a seller's market and you got to offer over asking price. But if the house has been sitting on the market for a while, then you might not need to do that. You have to look at the conditions of the seller's situation and not think about the market and what does the media say or what does John King say. First of all, listen to what John King says. But more specifically, when you're thinking about how do I make an offer the best offer I can possibly make it? Most people, regardless whether it's buyer's market or seller's market, say, well, it all comes down to price. No. Price is the biggest thing that a seller is looking at, for sure. But let's be real. If you were competing with a cash buyer that was ready to pay cash tomorrow, no appraisals, no loan contingency, no inspections, they literally just walked in with a suitcase full of cash and said, I'm willing to hand this to you tomorrow if you accept my offer tonight. But it's $30,000 less than your offer. There's a lot of sellers who would take that offer. They just want to be done. They just want the confidence of knowing that they don't have to worry about the ordeals they've heard about other sellers have, or that maybe they've had themselves in the past. They want that confidence and they're willing to pay for it. Now, in their case, they're not paying money, they're accepting less money. So please do not fool yourself into thinking that price is all that matters. It's price and it's terms. Well, John, what are terms? Terms is about the things inside the offer that make your offer stronger. There's the terms that you actually write in the offer, then there's the terms, the factors, the considerations that aren't written in the offer. So first of all, in the offer, you got to look at things like, how much am I putting down as an earnest money deposit? Now, if you don't know what an earnest money deposit is, earnest money is the amount of money that you will pay into escrow within the first few days of getting into contract. Now, that money applies towards your down payment and your closing costs. And it's not extra money the seller gets to keep. Doesn't change how much money they get in the end. It's just an advance of the money that you're going to be paying towards your down payment and your closing costs. But it's psychological. Technically, the seller can keep that money if you back out for no good reason. But more importantly, a seller just looks at that as a part of whether you're a strong buyer or not. A lot of people that I work with are first-time home buyers. They have small down payments, zero down payment. Like, John, I don't have a big down payment, so how am I giving earnest money? Well, maybe you borrow some from mom and dad. Maybe the negative of your offer is you're putting zero down. You say, well, who cares? Because I'm still giving them the same amount of money in the end. But the seller cares because they're worried about what is the likelihood this transaction is going to be completed successfully. And when you're putting zero down, they're worrying. What if your car breaks down? What if they have a major medical expense? They can't afford to buy this house now because they barely can rub two pennies together. Even if that isn't true, that's what they're thinking. If you stroke a check for a $40,000 earnest money deposit from mom and dad, you get that money back in the end if we didn't need it for down payment and closing costs. But the seller feels like, wow, this person has money. Wow, we should really strongly consider their offer because they have a large earnest money deposit. That isn't truly any extra money to them, but it makes them feel like your offer is stronger. So earnest money is one thing. Contingency dates. How long of an appraisal contingency you're going to have. The truth is, your ability to cancel without them keeping your earnest money is based on these contingencies. But that means the shorter you can make them, or if you're willing to waive one, and there's 3-4 major contingencies. You have the loan contingency. Well, if I got you pre-underwritten, fully underwritten from underwriting, we can waive that contingency. You've got the appraisal contingency. Well, depending upon the circumstances and how much your down payment is, I might have some appraisal gap options that says, hey, even if the appraisal came in low, we can just pivot to this other program and it won't cost you that much extra. Maybe we waive the appraisal contingency or at least shorten it. You've got your inspection contingency. That's one of the biggest ones that you want to make sure you thoroughly consider before you waive it. Because inspection is a lot of things that you're looking at around the home and around the neighborhood to decide, is this really where I want to live? And then finally, you have your insurance contingency to make sure you can actually get insurance for the property. So you can adjust those contingencies. Your close of escrow date's a big one. How long of an escrow period do you need? If we got you fully pre-underwritten and we paid for a rush appraisal, we could close in 12 days. 12 days. Yeah. Like we can move very, very quickly. And that way the seller feels better about the confidence of this working. And hey, if it doesn't work, we're going to know quickly because it's supposed to close in 12 days. Our normal closing is 21 days. Some banks are 30 to 45 days. So you can feel confident in putting shorter escrow periods. That's a very, very good thing to help make your offer stronger. And then there's the piece about realtor commission. So as of right now, what am I in? April, May of 2026. And a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the rules changed with how realtors handled commission. And now you are negotiating with your realtor to determine their commission. And then you're asking the seller to help pay for it. Well, the truth is, maybe you cover some of that commission or all of that commission if you really want to make your offer stronger, because now you're not asking the seller to pay that. Now, a lot of people don't have the money to do that, but that's something that can make a difference. Another piece is who pays for the title and the escrow fees. Maybe you're competitive and everybody's writing offers around the same price, but you're willing to pay the title and escrow fees. We're only talking about, a couple $1,000s here or there. That could make a difference in the eyes of the seller, more so than adding $5,000 to the purchase price. And then seller credits, asking the seller to pay credits towards your closing costs. That, if necessary, you got to do it. But don't do it just because the seller really is thinking about the overall terms of your offer, and asking for credits. Not only does it impact how much money comes to their bottom line, but for some sellers, it's emotional. You're offering me less on the home than what I think it's worth, and you want me to pay your closing costs? No, I won't do it out of principle. We don't want to get into arguments over principle with sellers. We want to create win-win situations. So sometimes the win-win means you give the seller time to stay in the home after we complete the transaction. I've been talking all along about how to make this a faster transaction. Maybe that's not what the seller wants. Maybe the seller wants a long escrow. Maybe the seller wants a short escrow, but a long amount of time to stay in the home afterwards. If you're buying an owner-occupied property, which means you're telling me you're going to live in the property, then I must know that you're going to move in within 60 days. But that means you could let the seller stay there for 59 days, maybe for free. Now, you're making a mortgage payment for those 2 months, so maybe you don't want to let him stay there for free, but if you can afford it, that may be enticing to a seller. The most important part is having a team on your behalf that works as a team. That means your lender, me, and your realtor are communicating with each other and communicating with the listing agents to figure out what's important to them, so that we write the offer that matches what the seller's needs are, not what we think their needs are. We offer a fast closing when the seller's actually worried about how they're going to clean out grandma's house in the next 3 weeks, and you're trying to close in 12 days. They don't want that. They want an extended escrow. You got somebody who has a house they're trying to buy, and that house just fell out of escrow. The one they're selling just fell out of escrow. They're trying to get the house sold as quickly as they can. Don't offer them a rent back because they've got another house to buy. It's about finding out what's important to that seller and delivering what is important to them while still getting the best deal you can for yourself. That is how you write the strongest offer, and it does not matter whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. It does not matter what your aunt or your cousin or John King on YouTube told you what you should do. It matters what is happening in that market at that time. And market conditions for homes are all about what's happening locally. It could even be within a city block of saying, hey, this neighborhood is super hard to get into. And there's only been 2 houses for sale in the last year in this neighborhood, and they've been snatched up immediately. So if you want to get an offer accepted on a home in this neighborhood, you have to do anything and everything you can to get your offer to stand out above all the other people who are writing offers. And I can help strategize, help work with you and your realtor to figure out how we make that happen. I've got tools, like I've got programs where I can offer a cash backup position. Now you have to be putting at least 20% down on the purchase to get that. But basically, we could offer the seller guaranteed cash purchase that if we don't close within 21 days, my company will actually buy the house in cash from the seller, and then we'll sell it to you afterwards once we finish the rest of the paperwork. There's some cool, very, very unique things that we can do that don't apply to everybody. But if they apply to you, I can help you make it happen. And so I want to be really, really clear. I'm interviewing for the job of being your lender. If I'm already your lender, thank you for trusting me to make that happen. And if I'm not, now's the time to make that change. Is your lender giving you the information that you need at the time that you need it to make the decisions to make your home ownership dreams come true? If not, please give me a call. My team and I are ready to take great care of you, and I'm looking forward to it. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.